recording. There, the recording is on. This is a lecture for Design 301. Today it's Thursday, October 1st. And you can get us on Google Meet or on Discord. We have people in both, so welcome to you guys. We'll put the recording of the lecture right here when it's ready. Today, we're gonna finish up annotations, sort of. You'll still have next week to work on them. I think you can get most of them done, and we can get your comments on your portfolios this week. Next week, we're going to add in, there's going to be 2 sections due at the same time, 1 week from Sunday. We're going to do how to plot, how to put an output. So at that point, you will have known or figured out or been shown, hopefully learned, how to draw things, how to annotate things, and how to output things. And after that, the whole rest of your career here at American River College is practicing those things in different ways in our program. So that's pretty cool. We're almost through the nuts and bolts that everybody does all the same thing. And we're almost to the point where you guys will be able to, you folks, there's more than guys here, where you folks will be able to pick what you like to practice on to practice certain skills. There will be a skill demo coming up in about 2 weeks. That skill demo does require you to share your screen with me on Google Meet. You will have your own Google Meet, and you'll have your AutoCAD up and running, and you have to share your screen. So I've only had 2 or 3 people take advantage of the opportunity to practice that. So let's make sure, let's take a look at our announcements. Here's how to split your screen and a chance to practice. Okay, and here's how to share your screen. So I've been giving you guys some practice things. Be sure that you know how to do those. And if you'd like to practice, you can. There's still a chance to sign up. Missing lab from 9/22, missing lab from 9/24. Here was this week's seminar. There is going to be another very cool seminar on Tuesday coming up. I think that's Tuesday the 6th. Another very interesting land planning. This is from a person who works in the mayor's office in New York City and has worked in Baltimore. And there's a bunch of really interesting stuff in there about planning and equity and capital improvements and things like that. So it'll be very interesting coming up. There was a recording of the last one that gives you some background. And I want to talk about this. There's an Autodesk Design Challenge. All of you do have the capability of doing it if you want to. It's really a mechanical design. It lasts about 9 weeks. Now, you don't have to participate the whole way through. You can do portions of this. Portions of it are fine. There is a kickoff meeting if you want to learn about it on Friday the 9th. You don't have to be at that. We're going to record it. You don't even have to get going. The first thing is due October 9th, I think, or something like that, in 2 or 3 weeks. It's actually farther away than that. And so if you're interested in applying what we're using to a real world design project, this is taking a project that I worked on many years ago, but it was a really brutal problem because we didn't have the tools we have now. Now you're going to be able, in a 9-week process, as absolute beginners, to be able to do that. And if you choose to participate in this, the Mechanical Design Challenge, that will replace your optional modules for this class. So if you're interested in mechanical design, this might be an interesting thing for you. You can come to the kickoff meeting. We do have Fusion training available. You can get training in this class and outside of this class. If you've got any kind of skill in any of these, those trainings transfer easily, and you can join the challenge at any time. So here's the entry form. Here's the cool thing. You can see there's one. Oh, it's due on the 23rd. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. And you can pop in on any part of this and go on. There's plain old modeling, which is drawing. And then there's something called load cases, where you do more than it's just a drawing. You actually apply loads to it and see what's going to happen. And then it does something called generative design. This program will read your model and read the loads you put on it and generate tons of designs for you to pick from based on what's most important to you. Then we're going to do a performance analysis design. So I know exactly what went wrong out in the field, and there were things that you wouldn't even think of when you're just doing the design. So we're going to do that. I'm going to add a little bit to it. Notice it doesn't take too long. And then a final design presentation. Now you can join this as a team or a single entry. If you do it as a team, I suggest that you have one person who can operate the fusion. You'll all do it, but one person focuses on fusion. Another focuses on 2D graphics to make the presentations. And another person focuses on the renderings. That's where you take a design and you apply lighting and texture and material to it. And these are all functions within Fusion that you can do. So you can have maybe a team of 3 if you're interested. Or you can say, I'm just doing it on your own. Anyway, what's cool about this is that this is sponsored by Autodesk. Autodesk is going to give a top award for each of these and a first, second, and third for the overall, for your overall final presentation. So you can just put all your effort into one. You can kind of move around and try to do the whole thing. But this is a great introduction to real world, because it actually did happen. Design type experience with Autodesk backing you up. So it looks really great on a resume. It looks really great on an application to another college. And it looks very cool hanging on your wall. So you guys can go to this and just, the entry form is super simple. Bank, your name, your W number. What is it? What's your skill set? What do these do? And then which are you applying for? You can apply to all of them. And then, do you want us to find you a team to work on? Do you have your own team put together already, or a single person? And you don't even have to decide yet. If you want to just go to this kickoff meeting and hear about it, that's it. The actual drawing part of this, you already have the skills. It's circles and rectangles make the part. Circles and rectangles make the part. And you can use the offset command or some other things. Okay? And so it's really kind of a cool thing. So there we go. That's for you guys to look at if you're interested. Now, I did notice, I think when I was grading for this class, in the samples that came through, many of you are putting your cool template into the submittal, but you're forgetting to put your actual real files in also. So when you submit for this, and the annotation and for the plotting, you're going to need to put in your template, your module portfolio template and add the AutoCAD files that you used. Okay? So please be aware of that. You will not get graded on this. You will not get a grade unless you submit the actual AutoCAD files this time. And that's because I want to poke around and see it. All right? Okay, so here we go. That was a long introduction, but now we're going to talk about annotations and doing the full process. Okay? You know how to draw. You can get a file. You've made a title block that's got stuff in it. It's got layers in it. It's got dim styles in it. It's got leader styles in it. Okay? And so now how do you create a full, complete drawing file? Okay? And remember, your title block is very important. It carries all those special things. If it's going to be mechanical and you need 2 decimal places, your title block has that dim style in it for you to use. If it's going to be mechanical 3 decimal places, your title block has that dim style in it for you to use. If you're going to use an isometric piping drawing leader, that leader style is in your title block template. All of your layers are in there. Now, they might also exist in the drawing you're using, but you bring it in to make sure, you bring that title block in to make sure that you've got everything, all right? So everything belongs in the title block. And I'm going to be looking at that title block drawing when I grade these. So if I see all this kind of cool stuff and you're missing the title block drawing, I'm going to be wondering how you actually got it done. All right, so here's the process that you always get, well, for this class right now that you're always going to go through for the next 2 weeks. Here's the process. Open the file that has the ready drawn object in it. Open the file that has the ready drawn object in it. Add your title block to it. The title block goes on a layout in paper space. So let me show what that looks like. Here I've got a drawing with something in it. I've just opened my drawing with something in it. Okay? This is the model. It's got the thing lines in it. It's got the thing that I drew. And here's my layout. Click, and it says over here that my piece of paper is what's active. As I'm doing my annotations, I always want that piece of paper active. Now, sometimes I might have to move this. Sorry, I clicked a pad there. I might want to move it. Lots of things I can do with that later on, but I'm going to just put that right there for right now. And what do? I insert my title block. Here it is down here. And I can go look for it, or maybe it comes up. There's my title block. And I remember that this one was the special one because it's my civil. So I need a scale factor of 12 for it to work. And I just, look, I'm just holding my left mouse key down and pulling it into place. Whew, cool. And then I may have to move some stuff and change my scale and all sorts of things, but That's essentially how it works. There's many adjustments to make always. But now let's see what happens. When I go to my home and I go to annotate, all of my dim styles are in there. My leader styles are in there. And my layers are all in there. So they all came with this. Then I add dimensions on the piece of paper. So let me do that. I'm going to add dimensions on my piece of paper. Okay, and I'm not going to worry about this overlap right now. I'll worry about that. Well, I'll go ahead and do that. I want this to be a little bit smaller so that it fits better. And then I remember that I can move this thing around. See how I did that? I said model. I can zoom it in and out. And I go back to make sure that I'm on my piece of paper now. I'm paying attention. I'm on a layout. There's a lot to pay attention to, unfortunately. I'm on a layout, and I'm working on my piece of paper. So now, I can do my dimensions right from here in my home, or I can do it on my annotate. I'm going to do it for my home. I remember that my dimensions should be on a layer called dimension. So let me do that. Click. And I don't know what layer, what dim style I've got current. It says I've got my standard dim style current. And I know that I'm in a civil drawing. So I'm going to click on my civil. That's like layers for dim styles, but it's not a layer, it's a dim style. So now I can see that I'm going to do my dimension as a civil dimension. And I'll do my linear dimension. And I'll pick that first one right there. And I'll pick my second one. And those, if you recall, were the only two that were actually dimensions. Now, I noticed that that's a little bit ugly. So I'm going to have to move that up just a little bit so that it's not on that line. That's kind of cool. Now I need a leader. What leader? Oh, leader can be it can be my standard. That's okay. So leader, I'm going to get rid of my ortho. Setback. I think that was, they have to be capitals. And then I'll click out here. And that looks too big. I think I need to adjust it. It is too big. So let me take that one and, oh, that was a text style. Hold on, where's my leader style? There it is. And let me modify that. Yes, it's too big. 0.125. Close. That looks better. And then I remember that there was some text necessary, and I use the DT command. That's my preference. I just type it in down on the command line. I don't even need to be down there. If I just start typing DT, it shows up. And remember, I said it would be middle center. That's where I'm going to put it. I'm going to middle center it right on that point. 0.125 high. That's why I like the DT command. It lets me put all this stuff in. And the angle. I have to go back and get the angle right. Okay. So I remember that the angle was north 3 degrees 15 minutes west. And then the actual thing I'm going to write is 115.0 feet, a couple of spaces, at an angle north 3 degrees 15 minutes west. Enter, enter. There it goes. Now, if I didn't do that at that angle, and I just typed it straight, I could always just rotate it and tried to get it in there pretty good. And that'll be okay. If you get it looking close, if you're sort of like that, I'll make a little note about it if I notice it, but I'm not going to take off a lot. But if you can really get it set, that would be better. Let's see. And then I think there's little donuts on here. Donut with a 0 inside and maybe a 0.125 outside. I don't know. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Click, 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 click. That donut command is really cool. And now I can just put text on here. DT left. I don't know. And I want it to go like right there. And I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller. I'm going to go like 0.09 high, maybe. And it's just going to be 0 degrees. I'm not going to rotate it. And this was, I don't remember what the elevation was. EL dot 120, I think. Now you have a whole bunch of options of how to do the rest. I like the copy command because I got everything right and it's really easy to copy it. And put it into place. So, but you'll make your own way of doing things quickly and efficiently. And then you have to go back in and get these right. I think this one says 124. Do you see what I did? I just double clicked on it. Double click. Go to the end feet. There we go. Or I can type ED for edit. ED. Click. And this one I think was 125. Click. 25. And I think if I have it right, this one was 126. And of course, I'm doing this by memory because I've only drawn this 48,000 times. But I've got a lot of it, right? I need to get my other things. Oh, how about the text up here? DT, again, is how I do text. DT, middle center. Now, this text was supposed to be bigger. So I'll go like 0.18, maybe. What did it say? Did it say Olive Drive? Something like that. And there were other things on here, but that's the essence of this one. And the process. Now there's one more part of the process. So let's see what the other part of the process is. And notice I did that all on my piece of paper. I'm going to go back and show you. This title block is on my piece of paper. This dimension is on my piece of paper. This donut is on my piece of paper. That's all there because I'm going to use this over and over and over. You're going to find out later on in our program that once you've got this basic drawing down, it's used for site plan, stormwater pollution plan, drainage plan, new construction plan, existing plan, utilities plan. There are so many different drawings that come off of this, and every time I need a clean drawing to work with. And so I want this to stay clean so I can use it over and over and over again for the different plans. And then I just keep adding these different layouts over and over and over again. Okay, that's why title block in the piece of paper, text on the piece of paper, leaders on the piece of paper, dimensions on the piece of paper, donuts on the piece of paper. Now, let's see. This doesn't look right because it's not filled out properly. And you remember what I have to do? I have to explode. E-X-P-L-O-D-E. Explode. Enter the title block. Now, there are ways, by the way, that you're going to learn in Design 302 about how to do it so you don't have to do this whole explode thing and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to do it this way. We just explode it. Now this can be edited. And remember, to edit a piece of text, I can double click, or I can type ED and click. And this is just going to be civil plot. I don't remember what I called it. I don't remember what this was either. I think it was, oh, this is the file name. That shouldn't say 1 equals. And it's whatever you save this file as. So I'm going to resave this as rs-civil. That's what I'm going to call it. And my plot scale, I don't remember what it was over here, but it was something. So I'm going to say 1/16 equals 1 foot, something like that. And I see that it's too big. And to fix that, if it's too big, I look at its properties. Select, sorry about that. Select and right-click properties. And I can either change how big it is, but it's this cool width factor thing that's really awesome. I can change that to squeeze it in. Isn't that cool? I love that thing. These properties are so awesome. You can really play around in there. And this one, I think I've got to do month. Today is 10/01/20. There, now I've got it all set and everything looks good. And I'm ready to plot. So I'm going to save it to my new file name that I did. rs-civil. File. Save as. And I have to find a place to put it. I always have to be careful. You should have a place on your computer or your USB or something like that. I've got this one called AutoCAD Drawings to Submit. rs-civil. There. I got it. So let's see how I did here. See if I went through all these steps. Open the file with the object already drawn in it. Yep. Add the title block to a layout in paper space. Yep. Now this one had the added little problem that I had to put in a scale factor of 12 for it. But that's okay. I want you to start seeing that right away. Next thing, add the dimensions on the paper. Yep. And explode the title block. Got it. So we just did the civil. Let me go ahead and talk about it again on the mechanic. And remember why these all have to look different. That totally does have a different style and a different look than a mechanical drawing. It just doesn't look like a mechanical drawing. And it's not supposed to look like a mechanical drawing. Civil engineers and architects that are doing civil site work look at that and they just automatically read it because they've read millions of these. And so part of our job is to show you lots of these over and over and over again for you to be able to do. Okay? Does that look? Any questions on the civil one really quick? Uh-huh. Yeah. And that'll be good for right now. Well, we'll do that during the lab. Let's bring that question back up during the lab. And then I'll look at it specifically. Okay? If you got pretty close, that's good. All right? I mean, you guys have only been drawing for 5 or 6 weeks, right? Look at what you're able to do. You guys are awesome to be able to do this after 5 or 6 weeks. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and go on. And this has been saved now. And I'm going to try another one. So I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to go to my start page. And I'm going to open. What's the next one I'm going to open? Those, I just downloaded all those. So it's going to be in my download file, right? Downloads. Let me do my piping ISO. There it is. There's my piping ISO. And I know my title block is going to kind of get in the way. So I'm going to move this up. And I'm just going to move everything up. Kind of up into this corner. There we go. There. Get everything moved up, kind of up into the corner as much as I can. And I can readjust this viewport. It's so cool. There. I'll get everything up in the corner. Because I know my title block is going to take up this space. Now look. Isn't that weird? The only thing I've got in the model is my part. But that's okay. So let's see. Let's go back. I'm going to save this as. Go find my spot where I put everything. Right? I go through the same process every time. I have to save my work. 301. RS-ISO pipe. Okay. So let's go and see what it says I'm supposed to do. Open the design file. I just did that. Add the title block. Oh my gosh, I'm doing the same thing again. That's good. Add my title block. That's insert. I can do my recent blot. I'm going to go back to my light. There it is. Now this time, I don't need a weird scale. I just happen to know that my units are all inches and all that kind of stuff. So here we go. I'm holding my left mouse button down. I'm dragging it in. Oh, that's going to look so good when I'm done. That's going to look awesome. Let's see what it did. Look, it's got my geometry, my dimension, my tag, all that. Okay, that's cool. How about, does it have my leader for ISO pipe? It does. I can remember I'm going to have to do these weird things with that ISO pipe leaders. And I don't think I have any dimensions on this. It's all just those leaders. So I can start putting those in now. Leader. Oh, so cool. I don't remember what I'm supposed to say. This is going to be awesome. You guys will all write the correct thing, right? I'm just writing something. Now, do I really care if it goes through this line? Is that line going to show up when I print it? No. It will not show up because it's on something called the depth points layer, which is a no print layer. Okay, so I have to go in and I have to add all that stuff, but you guys get to do that. And let's see, what else is there to do? I better save. I did something good. I better save it. Add dimensions. It's really add dimensions or annotate. Oh, explode the title block and edit the text. So I do the same thing over and over. Do you get the fact that I'm into doing something over and over and over again? So I'm a certified massage technician. I got my certificate in 1998, so it's been a little over 20 years. And you can imagine, we were counting it up with me, and I was working with my instructor yesterday. And he was asking me, how's my practice going? And they call it a practice on purpose. Well, it's very cool. I've done about 25,000 massages so far since I got certified. Practice, 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 practice. Okay, so I'm into practicing. Do the same thing over and over again. So how do I get this thing? I explode. Over and over and over. Do the same thing over and over and over again. There it is. Double click. ISO piping. File name. I can read it up here. RS-ISO pipe. What if that was a little too wide? What if that didn't fit? What would I do? I would click. Sorry. I have to hit escape a couple of times because I was in the middle of a command. If you're in the middle of a command, just hit escape and it gets out. Click, right click, properties. Here it is right here. Width factor. So if it was too wide, I can always squeeze it down. You don't have to. Depends on what your file name is. Now, when you do an isometric drawing like this, can you measure anything directly? Are any of these true and actual measurements? If I were to take a measurement Is that a true and actual measurement in any way? Anybody got an idea? The answer is no. First of all, it's an isometric, which means it's not going to be, that line is not true length. And second of all, this is just a diagram. So I have no scale on this. So I'm actually going to write none. And it's a little bit too big. So I'm going to have to squeeze it down. There we go. Just got to play around with it, get it going right. How about this one? Double click. Month 10-01-20. And we'll go over all this other stuff another time. There we go. Oh, I got most of it. Save. Oops, I'm in an annotation. Darn it. There we go. Save. Come on, save. I'm having a hard time with my save here. Okay. So I got 2 of them done. You have a whole bunch to do, but you have next week to do these too. You have next week. Next week, we're going to take all these and learn about plotting them, about doing plots of them. And we're going to go back to the drawings that you've already done, your stars and all that kind of stuff, and you're going to plot those too with title blocks on them and doing different things. Okay. Any questions on the isometric piping one? Okay. Then I need to do an architectural one. So let me go back to my start menu and I'm going to open a file. An architect, and we'll just go through that same process again. The point here is that I'm doing the same thing every time. No matter what type it is, I have different details to play with. Oh, it's downloads. But I'm doing the same process, even though the details are different. So there's a floor plan. I'm going through the same steps every time. So I'm going to move this. Move it down just a bit more. There, I think everything is going to fit if I put it in there. So I've opened it up. What's my next thing? That was open your file. Add the title block. Okay. Add the title block. Here we go again. Add the title block. Insert. From the live, there it is. And I think this is going to come in okay. Yep. It was a civil one, which was the only one that was really, really weird. And I don't have to do this little adjustment I'm doing. I've just decided to do it. It looks a little cleaner. Add the dimensions in paper space. So let's take a look and see if I've got the dimensions. Here we go. For dimensions, do I have architectural? I do have architectural. And I'm not sure if there's any leaders on here, but I'll just do my standard leaders. I put myself on my dimension layer and start putting my dimensions on. Now look, I might have to come back and kind of play with it. I didn't want this to the nearest quarter, I don't think. So let me go fix that. I think it was supposed to be the nearest inch. So I can go back and change it still. Architectural modify to the nearest. I'll make it go to the nearest inch. There. Now here's one that I worked on with Jake. And so if you're interested, you can do this. And Jake got him down pretty well. He'll maybe want some more practice at it some other time. But the next one is going to go from here to midway between these 2 points. Shift, right click, brings up my option for midway between 2 points. And I want it between that point and that. Oh, is that the coolest thing? See how it puts it right between those? And maybe I have to put it up here. But maybe it'll fit down here. Might be a few other little changes to make. Uh-oh, that didn't work. I picked on the wrong thing. I have to make sure that I get the actual endpoint of the wall, not my piece here. So let me make sure that I'm doing the end point of this wall, and then midway between this point and this point. There we go. Be sure that you actually pick the wall, the part, and not something on your piece of paper. And this might need to be moved up. You'll decide. So that looks like it's going pretty well. I've got it going. I've got my floor plan. Now this is cool because I'm going to use this drawing over and over and over again. I'm going to do a floor plan, a space plan, a roof plan. I'm going to do a lighting plan. I'm going to do a plumbing plan. All of these things come off of this drawing, so I don't want to mess it up in here if I can help it. I'm going to put them all on my pieces of paper as I go. Okay, so let's see what's next. I've got my title block and my dimensions on my piece of paper. Explode the title block and add the text. Okay. Explode the title block, add the text. EXPLODE, or push the button. Explode. Click that thing. Enter. Okay. ED for edit. And, oh, I'm going to have to, what is this? This is floor plan? I better save this, right? RS-floor plan. That's definitely going to have to get squeezed down. So when I come here, ED, RS-floor plan. And it is way too wide. Click width factor. I don't know what it'll be. Maybe even a little less than that. Notice how I go by eighths. I did 3/4 and then I did 5/8. You should know your decimal equivalents of all the 1/8 inches. Okay, my scale. Ooh, what's my scale? When I click on the viewport, it tells me it's 1/16 of an inch equals a foot. Scale. 1/16 equals 1. And that's too wide also. Width factor. That looks a little better. 8. 10. 01. 20. Oop, I gotta double click. 10. 01. 20. There. Got it. So you see how quick it is. If you've got your title blocks set up right, everything just moves along and you can just get in there and do your stuff. Might have to make 1 or 2 little changes. Get in there and do your stuff. Okay, so there's the, and I'm not going to do a mechanical. Well, I can maybe do a mechanical also. I guess I can do the last one so you've got it all in one place. So let's go back and say, let me do a mechanical. Back to my start menu, open, and here's a swing bracket. There's a mechanical one. So open that one up. I'm in my model. Looks good. Nice drawing. I'm going to go to my layout. There it is. Nice drawing. I'm going to move this so it's a little bit more up in the corner. And a little bit over. There. So now I have it positioned on my piece of paper where I think it will work. So now I don't even have to go back. I've got this down. I go to insert my title block, blocks from library, title block, drag it in. There we go. Looks like there's going to be room for everything on here. I like to just match up my viewports. Looks like I'm going to be a little bit short up there at the top. I might have to get a few things to move. Okay, so I think I'm going to have to move my that down just a hair to get some room up at the top for my dimensions. Now this little line, it doesn't matter where it goes because it's not going to print. But I like to get it kind of out of my way. Okay, there we go. And let's just see, do I have the ones that I need? Do I have mechanical X and mechanical XX? I do. So I'm going to just start putting some, and I don't remember which ones are X and which ones are XX, but I'm going to start out with things that I think are XX. I'm going to put a dimension on. And I like my blue dimension layer better because you guys can see it. And I don't remember which ones have XXX, but I'm going to pretend that this whole does. So how do I change that? I go to my annotations and I say, start using the XXX dim style. I like my tracking to be on. There we go. So they kind of line up nicely for me. And I don't know what else is like that. But you change back and forth. Oh, I want 2 decimal places. The other thing you can do is make them all 2 and then change it. You can change them just by clicking. There's the 2, there's the 3. There's the 2, there's the 3. I can even make it say civil, but that's not good. Okay? So that's how you're going to do this one. And I know that the last thing to do is to explode my title block, EXPLODE, title block, enter, and now I have to save it. File, save as, rs-swing. And I need to go put it in the right spot. There we go. So this gets called now a swing bracket. Bracket. File name, rs-swing. See, I picked one that was a little bit short on purpose. Scale. This one is easy. It's 1 equals 1. No need to change anything. 10-01-20. Uh-oh. I did something wrong there. Get rid of those. There we go. Got it. And it's starting to look right. Okay, hold on a sec. I'm about to lose my microphone. Oh, I see why I'm about to lose my microphone. That is a design issue. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so that is the essence of the annotation stuff. I'm going to turn off the recording now.